a majority caucus leader led by Afinyo Kings. A right speaker Honorable Agban Suleiman Kingsford Bagbin Ekopiemu ewo Supreme Court over as to why and oteki a majority seat ewo parliament minority seat ewo parliament nebusia parliament ho enjoy enra de ya Speaker of Parliament Agban Suleiman Kingsford Bagbin addressing media no in pace of a vacancy teneno eda mrese bedwafia akọ ye bibia ewo ho matena se ba bedo suko ya fifi mu enwada ensama Agban Suleiman Kingsford Bagbin editu dwa ma sabi obi ko ye kra editia mampanyini nana adodankwa Akuffo Addo fresh gossip GH medical kase news update enkanso da kroje wo edase eno anasona ka chire adwakro matena si mede somo shamisma say tap digital business and entrepreneurship Hiniba Media Institute anadanda ina no so yasenbo ye chidom emiade nsempa we ebesomo ewa afidikesie so abusuasem di kan ehase no obekaya on the 22nd October 2024 na enye fedi agro ewa parliament house for bra NPP amanyoko NDC amanyoko mreshebedwafo no clash ye as to why and will take a majority seat ewa parliament and as to why will take minority seat ewa parliament abusu enam so ema sabio NDC for kofa majority seat no parliament NPP for walking out from the parliament so no na enye fedi agro na abeka before say sitting no ebekoso no na Afenyo Markins the majority leader NPP amanyoko no edikan edi speaker Agban Kingsford Suleiman Bagbin akwakopiemu ewo Supreme Court ama ya chef Bagbin say sabio sabi NPP for no entina majority seat okopem say 10 days as Supreme Court no ebebedwe no matimi ateki decision over nsema ekoso ewo parliament house wo say sabio we emrashebedwani bi na wo ba emrashebedwe fie ho in the take it of party bia Nasabio, Osanya Adwensacha, some will cause an independent candidate ahead December 7th about to Kwakotwa. Esa will sit no, ye decide and I say declare vacant no Nina, any minimum sem. Then what that dear Bagbin, any media for Edim Common, or to be Eddie Manning and Adam Akuffo, I'm a Supreme Court and so Agyeta. Yenti and 70 bia a nay Bagbin, yes, the stubborn academy prefect or the Atuja.
Beloved guardians. Democracy will work only if we fight for it, says President Barack Obama of the United States. I swore an oath to uphold, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, and that I will do right to all manner of persons in accordance with the Constitution and the laws and conventions of Parliament, without fear or favor, affection, or ill will. I concluded the swearing of the oath with a call on God to help me. I'm very confident and have faith in God to see me through these dark days of Ghana and our young democracy. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start this presser by disabusing and setting the minds of Ghanaians at ease. There is no constitutional crisis in this country. I repeat, there is no constitutional crisis in this country. The Parliament of Ghana is alive and working. Let nobody mislead, misinform, or disinform you and the country. The democratic system we adopted and enacted, as captured in the Constitution 1992 and fleshed out in various laws, processes, procedures, and practices, is what has been triggered, and it is working. Let us allow it to work. Democracy is about the rule of law. Let the law work. The democratic system we adopted and enacted recognizes that in the course of operationalizing the system, disagreements will occur and challenges and problems will arise. The system has put in place mechanisms, structures, and institutions to a winner-take-all government. The majoritarian system of parliament, where the minority have a say, but the majority have its way, was rejected by the voters. They rather opted for inclusivity, collaboration, consensus building, leaving nobody behind. The equal representation of the two major parties in Ghana, resulting in the composition of a hung parliament, to the voters is the better way forward for our dear nation. The expectation of the voters is this will lead to the constitution of a parliament where the national interest will prevail as against partisan or parochial interests. This is the context and the peculiar situation I have to preside over as a speaker. I'm the first speaker in the Fourth Republic, in fact, in the history of Ghana, to work with a president who belongs to a different party, to work without a majority party in parliament, but with an evenly divided parliament, 137, 137 apiece. That is a hung parliament. Decision-making has therefore not been smooth sailing. As the Speaker of Parliament, I hold the balance in favor of the national interest, but sometimes bend backwards to accede to government requests because government has been given the mandate to govern. It is with this understanding I led the board of the Parliamentary Service and members of Parliament to provide procedural rules of engagement to actualize this goal and to provide for the possible types of government as envisaged in the Constitution. These possibilities include an election of an independent president to form a government, somebody who contests, as we have now, as an independent presidential candidate, can be elected by the voters as the president of Ghana. How is he going to work with Parliament to get his or her business, that is government business, approved by Parliament? We have a possibility of a minority government where the voters vote for the president, but he has less members of Parliament, and that is a minority government. How is he going to get the majority members of Parliament to always approve his business for him to govern the nation? We can also have a coalition or a merger of parties government. And the familiar one we know is the majority government. These are possible governments constitutionally guaranteed in Ghana. In the current hung parliament, the new standing orders of Parliament had to cater for such a government by a number of provisions in the standing orders. We also provided provisions for all the other options of government that I just explained. For instance, a day which we called a decision day has been designated in the new standing orders, where the Speaker, in consultation with the leadership of the House, will set aside to allow members of Parliament who are ministers and deputy ministers the opportunity to be present in Parliament to be counted in support of government position to ensure government business does not suffer for lack of government members of Parliament in Parliament. Despite the above, often the number of government members present still don't add up due to the nature of the duties and responsibilities of ministers and deputy ministers. The NDC members of Parliament, however, understood the situation and on a daily basis cooperated with the MPP members of Parliament to see government business through. In spite of this, the NDC members are said to be saboteurs of government business by the MPP members of Parliament and the followers of the new patriotic party. Those of you who cover proceedings on a daily basis are witnesses as to how sometimes I have to look at the members of the NDC in a very stern manner, which made them give in to their objections, just to get government business going. Ladies and gentlemen, the powers of the judiciary ends where the nose of Parliament starts. The Constitution is very clear on freedom of speech and of proceedings of Parliament. Articles 115 and 116 grant members of Parliament privileges and immunities of speech, debates, and proceedings on any matter or thing brought by a member in or before Parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. And I want to quote the two articles to you. Article 115. There shall be freedom of speech, debate, and proceedings in Parliament, and that freedom shall not be impeached or questioned in any court or place out of Parliament. Article 116. Subject to the provisions of this article, but without prejudice to the general effect of Article 115 of this Constitution, civil or criminal proceedings shall not be initiated against a member of Parliament in any court or place out of Parliament for any matter or thing brought by him in or before Parliament by petition, bill, motion, or otherwise. This means happenings in Parliament must remain in Parliament. So the court must, and has always been, hesitant to interfere in the proceedings and decisions of Parliament. In the celebrated case of Akuffo versus the Attorney General, the Supreme Court affirmed that happenings in Parliament are a closed book. Despite these provisions, the courts are replete with debates and proceedings of Parliament. Most worrying is these proceedings are initiated by some members of Parliament, even leaders of Parliament, who ought to know better. Parliamentarians who are to be loyal to Parliament rather than to the Supreme Court run to the Supreme Court at the slightest opportunity to use the Supreme Court to undermine Parliament. This might be one of the reasons Parliament and members of Parliament are not respected and treated with disdain. This was exhibited by the President's refusal to even receive the LGBTQ+ bill, duly processed and passed by Parliament without any legal basis. The judiciary is supportive of this conduct by the receipt and processing of a suit on this subject matter. These are dangerous precedents in our democratic journey. Both the President and the judiciary have sinned against the Constitution and must seek the opportunity to confess and repent to be forgiven. I am confident the battles we are fighting today will make our democracy stronger and more vibrant in the future. I believe in the supremacy of the Constitution. Mark my words, the supremacy of the Constitution, not the supremacy of the judiciary or Supreme Court. I also believe in a vibrant Parliament that is respected and accorded its due on political questions as long established by law and decided cases. A Parliament that understands, reflects, and embodies the will of the people and defends its constitutional prerogatives only works in the interest of Ghana and Ghanaians, not a rubber stamp Parliament subservient to the whims and caprices of the executive and or the judiciary. Again, I strongly believe that Parliament was one of the institutions President Barack Obama had in mind when he opined, while in Ghana in 2009, that Africa needs strong institutions and not strong men. I'm happy he didn't add women. Parliament must be strong to perform its legislative function and the indispensable function of holding the President to account. That is the oversight function. No other person or body has the gravitas and constitutional mandate to do so in Ghana. The public, media, civil society, and other partners in governance can make constructive inputs and criticize actions and omissions of arms of government. But these bodies are not constitutionally and legally structured and mandated to hold the executive to account. Parliament is elected. It is, at its best, the will of the people, legally and constitutionally structured and mandated to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, my dream, therefore, is a patriotic one. The existence of a firm, effective, efficient, and responsive parliament whose members place national and constituency interests ahead of narrow partisan or personal interests. At last, this is yet to materialize in Ghana. Parliament weakens itself when its members keep running to our courts to settle or seek favorable determinations of not just legal matters, but essentially political and governance questions. It is my strong belief the matter before the Supreme Court can be settled within Parliament through matured deliberations and compromises. Please, make no mistake. Not all the strong men President Obama warned us about come in military uniforms. Some come dressed in suits. I hope in my lifetime, Ghana shall have a parliament and a speaker who are truly independent from Jubilee or Flagstaff House or any headquarters in the conduct of parliamentary business. Let me state unequivocally, Parliament owes its duty to the people who established and elected its members to serve and represent them. The wheels of Parliament will continue to turn, and no person will be allowed to disrupt parliamentary proceedings or to undermine the democratic mandate of Parliament. When I ruled in January 2021 on the issue of which side constitutes majority and minority in Parliament, the ruling was in favor of the majority group then. It was not an act of lawlessness as to cause constitutional crisis. When I ruled in the matter of the vacation of seats by Honorable Kennedy Agyepong, Honorable Henry Korte, and Honorable Sarah Addo Safo, the question of the interpretation of the Constitution was not raised. When my predecessor declared the former seat vacant in 2020, applying the same provisions of Article 97, the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to interpret and enforce provisions of the Constitution was not invoked. Peace reigned in these instances, and nobody cried and ran to the Supreme Court under the guise of constitutional interpretation. If I may ask, is it a legal matter for the Supreme Court to decide as to which side of the House constitutes the majority or minority? It is for good reason that justice is said to be blind. And further, that justice must not only be done, but must be seen to be done in all cases, not in only those cases to which some people appear to be sentimentally attached. Fellow Ghanaians, I respectfully call on the Supreme Court to apply the same swiftness with which the motion ex parte in the Eastern matter was granted to the case involving the President's refusal to receive the Human Rights and Family Values Bill passed by Parliament, which has been pending before the same court for almost a year without being heard. Ladies and gentlemen, consistency is not just an ideal, but the foundation of life. The court cannot enjoin 4 members of parliament from serving their constituents for 12 weeks, but was very eager to deny the constituents of Assin North their representation because of the issue of allegiance. The court cannot deny the constituents of Sal the sanctity of representation for years. The court cannot even see that the Constitution itself permits a denial of representation within 3 months to the holding of a general election. It's in the Constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, the Parliament of Ghana shall commence sitting as by law prescribed from tomorrow, November 7th, 2024. I have earlier instructed the clerk to Parliament to transmit the LGBTQ plus bill to the President for assent. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, I'm aware of the business the government wants to transact through Parliament. And I'm willing to cooperate and collaborate with government. Despite all that I have said, Ghana first. And all Ghanaians should bear the President, Parliament, the judiciary, and all our leaders in prayer for the betterment of our people and country. With this, I thank you all for your attention. Assalamu alaikum.
The Right Honourable Speaker of the 8th Parliament with that address. May we please be seated. This is the Speaker's press conference, and he will now take questions from members of the media. We will take them in tranches of 4. Please, brevity is the name of the game. So you get up, you tell us your name, your media house, and then your question. In order for us to get as many questions in as possible, one man, one machete. And please, the preambles, let's just use them. The Director of Media Relations will assist in this particular endeavor.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, my name is Ibrahim Al-Hassan. I report for GH1 TV and Star FM. Okay, so one man, one question. Mr. Speaker, I just want a clarity. Have you re-instructed the clerk to resubmit the Human Sexual Rights and Ghanaian Family Values Bill to the presidency, or are you relating to the old instruction you gave, which was rejected during the transmission?
My name is Kwame Minka, TVXYZ Power FM. My question is simple. So tomorrow as Parliament sits, tell us exactly how the sitting arrangement would be. Because what we've been hearing is that the minority then has its majority, and would they remain as such, or there will be a shift? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kweku Asante from Joy News and Joy FM. Mr. Speaker, during the proceedings in court, the Attorney General had cause to say that you had committed a crime by illegally procuring the services of Mr. C0urt in litigating those matters in the Supreme Court. Specifically, he puts out a letter that has been signed by the PPA CEO rejecting a sole source procurement that you wanted to do as regards to Mr. C0urt. Please, can you respond to the specifics and allegations that you had committed a crime in that regard?
My name is Havila Kekele, Class FM. Right Honorable Speaker, there have been several occasions where members of parliament sometimes, through disagreement with some of your rulings or pronouncements on the floor, use certain words at you. How do you feel about some of these things?
Mr. Speaker, we will respectfully take a fifth one. We'll take a fifth one because of the brevity of the question so that we can get as many questions
Thank you very much. My name is John Amensa and I report for GBC Online. Just to reiterate the point earlier made by my colleague. Speaker, as we speak today, the media, we are somehow confused. You address MP as a minority leader and or a majority leader. You are told that, please, that's not my title. Or they'll just cut the line. Please, can you settle this debate for us? Who is the majority leader today in Parliament?
The Right Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
These are very interesting questions. The first one is easy. It's a fresh instructions to the clerk to Parliament to resubmit the bill to the President. I'll leave it at that. The second one, please, it's not part of the duties of a speaker to decide where an MP should sit in Parliament. It's not my duty. That determination in Ghana's situation, in various parliaments, these things we are talking about, majority side, minority side, don't exist any longer. That's why in my ruling I use the term old school. The British model, government, opposition, benches, and a carpet in between them. And so when you are shifting your political lineage, you have to cross that carpet to the other side. And that is why you have the term carpet crossing. Our parliament is not arranged in the form of government and opposition. And Ghana don't like the term opposition. So we decided to adopt the terms from the United States of America, majority and minority. So you can even sit anywhere. But the numbers determine who is majority and who is minority. But in our parliament, the practice is for those who constitute majority to sit at the right side of the speaker, and those who constitute minority to sit at the left side of the speaker. That is because after independence in 1957, we adopted the Westminster system, which is practiced in the United Kingdom. But we changed that, even to the extent that the arrangement on the floor of the House is in a horseshoe. So it's not always the case that the people to the left side are all members of minority. That's not the case now. And there's good reason behind this. As in the textbooks. The determination, therefore, in our situation, as to who constitute majority or minority, is a question of numbers. As to where they sit, is the determination first of the political parties who influence who should lead the caucus or party wing in Parliament. They, after various consultations, decide that these 5 people should occupy these positions in leadership. And so they are given the chairs in front. Then in consultation with them, the 5 leaders, they determine who should sit behind them. Because as a leader, you need somebody that you have trust, confidence in, who has the capacity, so that when you are in some difficulty or you have a challenge, you can just lean over and listen to his or her whisper. So you have a say as to who sits behind you. The speaker is not involved in this. The whips, particularly the chief whips, lead in trying to identify who should sit behind. And it also has to do with years of experience in the house, and also the issue of gender and other professional backgrounds, until you get to those who are at the back. Even though we don't sit on benches, we still use the term backbenchers. The speaker is not involved in this. After they have agreed on it, they then get in touch with the parliamentary service through the clerk, who will get his officer at the table, together with the marshal, and they will get the names, print them, and place them on the various tables as decided by the various caucuses. The speaker don't come in this. Please. How can you call speaker to come and decide where people should sit? It's not part of my duties. Number 3. I will plead with you. Go and look at that letter. He's the Attorney General. He did his service in Parliament here. I was leader then, when he was doing his service here. Yes. So I know him very well before he became Attorney General. Read that letter carefully. And that's one of the things they are missing. There's vast difference between Parliament as an institution and the office of the Speaker. The Speaker is the party before the Supreme Court, not Parliament. So as Speaker, when the Attorney General is taking a different position from my position, I should still contract him as my counsel. I will leave it at that. Because I'll meet the Attorney General and I'll tell him my peace of mind on some legal issues and pronouncements he made at the Supreme Court. You know, Attorney Generals must be respected as learned. But it should not be part of what Obama referred to. Not me. It will not work.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. We'll take 2 more tranches and then we'll be done. We're doing well so far. The Director of Media Relations is still going around with the microphones.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. You said the President and the Judiciary have sinned against the... My name is Oyene Pons. I work with Addo FM and Addo TV. Now, you said the President and the Judiciary have sinned against the Constitution. Would you tell us more on that? What would you say that will be the things or the acts they have done that will constitute, in your opinion, sin against the Constitution?
Good afternoon, Right Honourable Speaker. My name is Nia Yukuoka. I work for City FM and Channel 1 TV. Now, Article 112, Clause 3 of the Constitution, as well as the Standing Orders 53, have been invoked by the NPP caucus for the 3rd time this year, whenever you adjourn the House indefinitely. Now, we want to find out, is this an abuse of that provision, and what has been its impact on other legislative processes? Thank you.
My name is Emmanuel Akoli of Peace FM. Speaker, a number of people have described this 8th Parliament as very chaotic based on events that which happened when this Parliament came into being and what is happening currently. Mr. Speaker, how do you see this Parliament? Are you proud of the 8th Parliament? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker. My name is Kwabena Eshrin Martin. I report for Original TV and Original FM. Mr. Speaker, I would like to know what influenced your decision of adjourning Parliament Synodai the last time we had our sittings, and what will be your decision if the same situation which happened the last sittings continue tomorrow?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Clement Akolo. I report for Parliament News 360. I also double as the Communication Officer for Parliamentary Network Africa. Mr. Speaker, you mentioned that both the President and the judiciary have sinned. And when you look at Article 122 of the Constitution, it talks about contempt of Parliament. So if they have sinned, do they fall far of the contempt of Parliament, and what are you going to do about it? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ben. I think that's the 5th question for this tranche. I get the feeling that this could be the last one. Am I right, colleagues? Mr. Speaker, with your kind permission, if you may answer the 5 questions that have been referred to.
Two of you raised a question about the sinning of the President and the judiciary. Please go through the Constitution or the laws of Ghana. There is nowhere where the President can refuse to receive a bill passed by Parliament. In fact, the crafters of the Constitution are so careful that they even took away veto power from the President. So in Ghana, our President cannot veto a bill passed by Parliament. It's clear in the Constitution that the President will receive the bill passed by Parliament. If he has concerns, he will communicate to Parliament that I have concerns on this bill that you have passed within 7 days. Then he has 14 days to put across those concerns back to Parliament. And Parliament is called upon to reconsider the bill, taking his inputs into consideration. That is what is in the Constitution and the laws of Ghana. So a bill is a bill. It's not law. It's just a bill. This is a draft that is being discussed. The judiciary is going to do what? Be part of the law-making process. Tell us what to do in the bill. It's only when it's passed and assented to by the President, then it becomes law, that the judiciary can come in to interpret and enforce. There's nothing like that. And this is something that immediately, with supersonic speed, it should have been jettisoned, not entertained at all by the court. Now, what it means is that anytime any bill is before us, and we are working on it at this stage, anybody can just take it to the court. And that will mean that Parliament will have to stop and wait until the final determination of what? What are they to determine? Please. We are doing this for Ghana, and not for only today's generation, for generations yet unborn. We are building a durable, sustainable governance structure that gives certainty to everybody that is the rule of law that prevails, not of man, or the rule by law. The two are not the same. When you rule by law, people are not certain of the law. And so even investors run away. And as a leader for so many years, from 2001, I've been a leader. I can mention so many serious investors who say they will not invest in Ghana because of uncertainty of the law. Attempts to invest here, you definitely have branches of the law, and then the courts and the system cannot tell you what the law is. And they lose a lot. So when you talk about unemployment, underdevelopment, and the rest, now who caused them? Leadership, I believe strongly, is cause. Everything else is effect. Even though followers matter. Followers matter. And that is where, in fact, we applauded the efforts of the president when in his inaugural speech, he talked about us being citizens and not what? Spectators. Today, Ghanaians are now more spectators than citizens. I think you have to wake up and become the citizens that he called us to be. That is where I'm moving towards. I don't have any ill will or malice, no. I don't have any ambition. If there's honorable Bagbin or whatever people don't want, please, that one, I can assure you, I'll go and relax. And my holy village is always there to welcome me. I don't have any problem at all. But once I sit here, I take the decisions and I'm responsible. Nobody else but me. That's why I started with my oath. I swore the oath. And at the end of the day, when I'm to account for my life to my Creator, nobody is to do that with me. I'll be alone. And I'll be there. Those of you who will come later. Because I believe in life after death. In fact, we are even told that place is better than here. So I have no problem with dying. I'm always prepared anytime to die. But you will come after that. And you will come and meet me there. Eh? I will tell you what seniority means.
The Right Honorable Speaker shall live to tell of the good works of the Lord.
Hey, there's one on there.
Oh, okay. I have indications that there are some two critical questions, so yeah, maybe after that, yes, then we can quickly go away.
Oh, recall. I can't say it's an abuse. The Constitution permits them to do what they do. It's just that, please, don't only think about today. Also think about tomorrow when you are doing some of these things. And for me, as I sit here, I thought the focus of those in government shall be about government business, not even the position they occupy. Which is more important? It's government business. And for the position you occupy, if you work well, you may even get a higher position. Eh? It's the good people of Ghana who will decide. So I'm surprised that some people are focused on that one. But tomorrow, you will hear from me.
We are bringing proceedings to a close, but I see
Our
that
parliament so far is transformatory. In fact, this is a parliament, I've been from the first to the 8th. The first was foundational. And the late Right Honorable Justice Daniel Annan had to use all his experience and wisdom to establish the parliament. And so he started by transforming the rules that we inherited from the 79 to 81 parliament. That's the Third Republic. And also putting the structures and personnel in place, creating the opportunity for further training, education, and the rest. He did that. The second parliament, led by the late Right Honorable Peter Agyeta, focused on trying to strengthen the second speaker, I should say.
Second speaker, third parliament.
To strengthen the institution of parliament. And you recall sometimes he had some rough edges with the president. No wonder he lasted for 4 years only. And it established a 4-year term for Speaker of Parliament. The fourth was trying to stabilize the third speaker. And that was Right Honorable Ebenezer Sechi Hughes. I worked with all of them. The fifth came, and that was our beautiful lady, Supreme Court Judge, Justice Adeline Bamford Addo. And she, with her experience from the bench, focused on the rules and dignity of the House. So you could see her dressing, her posture, her patience, and everything mattered to the institution. So I knew him long before he came. And I happened to be, I saw how we struggled to change the rules of the game. But before I became speaker, the voters changed the rules. And so you now don't have a majority where you can just sit down and just put the question, and you are sure the ayes have it. And so there is no day that I will go and preside without calling the leaders to my lobby for us to go through the agenda of the day, which is usually captured on what? The order paper, yellow. This is what is on the paper, cut from the business statement. How do we handle it? Then the leaders will tell me those that they agree, those that they disagree. Even when they disagree, how do we handle it? We discuss all that. Okay, how many from each side of the house? We discuss that. How many minutes per person? We discuss that. Then I just come to preside and enforce what we have discussed. That is why it's difficult for us to be sitting at 10. Because sometimes I have to get them to make sure that there's some peace before we go out there. This is what we do on a daily basis. I just don't come and preside and impose my ideas. Even when it goes to voting, we agree. We will oppose. If you give ayes during the voice vote, We will challenge your decision. We will count heads. We will do secret voting. We will not allow public voting. We discuss all this. And so even some of the discussion at that period, when leaders go on air and go and reveal those conclave confidential information, what is that meant to achieve? I should not invite them to discuss things with them again. And what will happen on the floor? In spite of all that, for 4 good years, people are still not appreciative. And I am the target. Hey, this is my God. Hey, he's a living God, though. So please.
Mr. Speaker, we are live on GH1, GBC.
Oh, you are live.
And I would crave your indulgence that we take. I've seen some crucial questions that I think must be asked so that we can round up, so that they don't surcharge us for spending too much of their live airtime. And so we'll take the final tranche of questions, and then we will bring proceedings to a close. Very quickly, name, media house, question, no preamble.
Thank you very much. My name is Ernest Kofiedu. I work with the Daily Guide newspaper. Right Honorable Speaker, at the last agenda date, you said that because of the issue of composition and that of the fact that Parliament had the correct number to do business, but didn't have the correct number to undertake decision. You are recalling the House tomorrow. Can you tell us whether these issues have been addressed and whether there has been meeting between yourself and the leadership of the House such that tomorrow's recall will also not degenerate into that confusion? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, good afternoon. My name is Prince Asari from Pen TV. In your speech, you just said that you expressed concern about the fact that members of the House now are resorting to the Supreme Court to deal with conflicts that happen in the House. And you believe that that wouldn't help. Now we are having a conflict now. And I want to know that how do we handle this conflict resolution process and who is to initiate it? Because you said you have been doing this for many years. So how can we come together and solve this impasse?
Thank you. Let's move on.
My name is Isaac Addo, a freelance journalist. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. In your speech, you indicated that the matter before the Supreme Court could have been handled internally through dialogue and compromises. Please, is it too late?
We are rounding up. Is there? Have we satisfied you now from this corner? Okay, I think we can. No Jara. I think we can successfully bring proceedings to a close with Mr. Speaker answering these questions. But I must also indicate that, Mr. Speaker, that TV3, 3FM, Joy FM, they are all broadcasting live. In fact, I have received City FM, GH1 TV, and I think, is it TV? They are all live. So today's been one of the days that we've had the most live coverages, and we are grateful to you. Before the Deputy Clerk comes to say thank you, just to let you know that we are live on all these channels and on our own channels as well.
I'm extremely grateful to the media for this coverage. That is what is expected of the media, and truly for these 32 years, without the media, we wouldn't have gone this far. So, congratulations. We can always disagree, but once we have agreed to disagree as part of our life, it's permitted. There's no problem with that. Please, as to what will happen tomorrow, I don't know. I don't know. Because I don't control that. But you know, what happened the day of the adjournment? I don't see the young man again. Oh, you are the one standing up there. Yes, yes, yes. You know, as I told my friends on the NPP side, I had 3 options after you walked out. And it was only left with the NDC members. I could have proceeded with the business. Would they have been approved by the NDC MPs for government? Even if they did, would they not go and raise an issue about quorum to take decision? So that was not a legally accepted option. I could have decided to adjourn till the next day. But knowing the nature of the disagreement, would it have been solved within one night? No. Because I've seen that the nature of the disagreement goes beyond the house to the powers outside the house. And so we needed to engage many more people to be able to resolve the disagreement. So you need more time. And since I couldn't estimate the time, I decided that it should be what? Indefinite. After we resolved that, then Parliament could be recalled. If people were mindful that there's some agency for us to resolve it, they would have come together faster for us to talk, negotiate things, resolve it, and come back. But I tell you, apart from some senior citizens, patrons of the country, who actually got in touch with me, the leadership of the NPP members have not gotten in touch with me. They haven't. My good friend Osei Mensa Bonsu spoke to me because he wasn't even around when this thing happened. And we discussed this and I threw more light on it. And he said, oh, he didn't know before granting interviews. He said those things, but now he can also say I should bring my official report, you know. So, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know of the resolution of the disagreement. And so I don't know what will happen tomorrow. But I'll be available to preside. You understand? And so that is the situation now. The last question. Proposal. Proposal. Well, am I now to propose it to you and Ghanaians? Or I should have been making the proposals to the parties so that they can be negotiating and compromising? I think that's the best way to do. And I'm expecting that, in fact, I need to praise some leaders because the first to get in touch with me, I think, was Apostle Nyamiche and the boss of the Christ Apostolic Church. They were the first to come to express concern and we had a lengthy discussion. You know. Then later, a delegation of the Council of State also came to meet me in the office. And when I explained all the situation to them, in fact, many of them were really surprised because what they heard on air and what I told them and said they could cross-check from the proceedings or other things, they were really surprised because they didn't know that was what took place. There was so much misinformation, and all those. And I don't want to go into those details because they are before the court. At the end of the day, the judgment of the court will set a lot of precedents. But don't forget, the law is that the Supreme Court can always differ from its earlier decision. That is a danger. So for a purpose, I can give a judgment and ruling to favor the situation. Tomorrow, I say, no. No, I disagree with that. And that is permitted by law. So when you tell me that, it means that the Supreme Court is supreme. And so when it orders, I must obey. When I know the same Supreme Court can disorder, you have to raise a question back. I'm a lawyer by profession. And the first time I appeared in the Supreme Court was 1983. 1983. That was my first case in the Supreme Court. I don't know whether those who are going there now were born, but it's okay. The last one is when I was young, I think when we were in the senior high, we were not calling it senior high, we were calling it secondary school. There was some song, it's too late to say that you are sorry. After you broken my heart. When I needed you to satisfy my soul. You turn your back and said,
now, I think we should add singer to Mr. Speaker's argument because the skills keep adding as we go along. I said he was an old woman in an old man's skin. He refused, but... And so I think that you don't agree with me that we've had a very fruitful good afternoon. Mr. Speaker, may I also acknowledge that Daily Graphic Online, Class FM, Channel 1 TV, Onua TV and FM, newsalertgh.com live, and many other news portals are streaming live. Like I indicated, we are truly grateful. Mr. Speaker has said that he's grateful. As we bring proceedings to a close, Mohammed Nyagzi will give us the closing prayer. But before that, the Deputy Clerk in charge of Legislative Management, Camilo Puamang, will officially thank us. And then Mohammed will thank Allah. And then Mr. Speaker will take leave of us.
Thank you very much, Addo, for this program. Right Honorable Speaker, the leadership of the House here in present, and colleague deputy clerks. Please lead me not into temptation. Yes, on behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker, let me thank our friends from the media for a well-covered program. As the Speaker was ending his opening statement, he indicated that Ghana first. He said Ghana first. He believes in the fidelity of the Constitution. He reaffirms the supremacy of the Constitution and his respect for the rule of law. He also encouraged us that what the people of Ghana set for us is for collaboration, cooperation, and for all of us to work together to ensure that democracy succeeds. So on behalf of the Right Honorable Speaker and on behalf of the Parliamentary Service, we wish to thank you all. We are grateful to the Right Honorable Speaker for this opportunity to speak to the people of Ghana, to set the record straight, to let people understand that Parliament will continue to sit. Parliament will sit tomorrow, and Parliament will continue to.
Abusuaweni nsembia edika editie trende ewa be fontinten fidikese so a asona ka chire adwakromo mede esomo chane so ma say your foforo na subscribe channel ya mesrew say ne no be subscribe platform yi ede amaye say na bi ansempa e trend e wa be fontinten fidikesie so no ni na no ye drop ya wonsa atimi aka bi wahu de e call ene dia eba asona ka chire adwakromo no midi makra